like to bring this Town of Cedar Lake Planning Commission work session to order, August 5th, 2020, 7:02 p.m. Before we stand for the pledge, I need to read this information. In accordance with the governor's executive order relating to COVID-19, in-person attendance of tonight's Planning Commission meeting will be limited. We have arranged a live stream of the meeting, so those interested can view it from home. The meeting is slated to start at 7 a.m. You can view the meeting via our web. Sorry, Bob. You can view the meeting via our website at cedarlakein.org/view town meetings. Then click on View Broadcast under the live broadcast. You must join the meeting through the link to participate during public comment. Due to the unique matter of this meeting, the Town of Cedar Lake will accept public comment submitted electronically. If you have a question or comment about an item on the agenda, please email that question or comment to michelle.baker@cedarlakein.org. Ms. Baker will ensure that all submissions are shared with the board members and that the submission will also be entered into the minutes of the meeting. Please keep your comments civil and constructive to the policy issues on the agenda. Everyone, please stand for the pledge. Bob, would you lead the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excuse me.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer.
Present.
Chuck Becker. John Cora.
Present.
John Foreman.
Present.
Richard Sharp.
Here.
Jerry Wilkening.
Here.
Robert Carnahan.
Here.
Don Oliphant.
Here.
David Austin. Tim Kubiak is absent. Michelle Baker.
Present.
And myself.
Is Chuck Becker there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right. First item, old business, Centennial Phase 15, final plat. Petitioners requesting final plat for 20 lots in Phase 15 of Centennial subdivision. Don, do you have any information on this?
It's going to be a last minute thing in 2 weeks. We're still working through as-built, doing public works inspections of the infrastructure. And the plat's in order. It's just more of getting the letter of credit. So
Okay. You said last minute for them or last minute for us?
It'll be just last minute for everything. If we can, we just got as-built last week. Public Works still has to go out and do underground infrastructure inspections. We did the pavement and curb inspections today. So it's just a matter of how far we can get along, stuff get accepted, which will kind of drive what that letter of credit number is going to be as part of the motion. So we'll get there. They're working towards the 25% maximum reduction, I guess we're going to call it that.
All right. Well, if you talk to them, encourage them to make sure their part's done.
We're all working.
Okay.
So.
All right. Next item is.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Bob.
With the 20 lots in Phase 15, according to the information I've got, they have a total of 610 lots in there. Will this close out all 610, or is there more to come?
That is to be determined. The last part of their platted areas is an area north of their townhome area, which is currently they do not own, but it is still in their PUD. So there will have to be some discussion eventually if there's a PUD change to remove that area or if they're going to proceed north. But that's undetermined right now.
So we don't know if it's still going to be 610 lots total?
If they don't go that way, it's going to be substantially less because all that is platted or was approved as multifamily townhomes. So, and there are probably a good 10 or 12 of them up there. So if they don't do that and it's removed from the PUD, it's a substantial decrease in density.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Any of the Zoomers have any other questions?
No.
Okay. Chuck, John?
No.
No. All right. We'll move on to item number 2, Pepys one lot subdivision. Petitioners requesting a final plat for a one lot subdivision. This was just kind of a small item. Is this,
Wait, we skipped one.
sorry.
Lakeside preliminary.
Oh, yeah. Lakeside preliminary plat extension. Petitioners requesting preliminary plat extension that expires 9/18/20. This is the Cedar Lake LLC, 8900 Wicker Avenue, St. John, vicinity 5711 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake. I guess there's a petitioner here. State your name and address, please.
Michael Tiller with Schilling Development, developers at Lakeside. We're here to request a 1-year extension for our preliminary plat extension in 2 weeks. We hope to start another phase in Lakeside next year as we work through some water and sanitary issues. If you have any questions, I can answer them.
Okay, Mr. Ossian, is this where it needs to be? Okay. Don,
Agreed.
everything's good?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Anybody at home have any questions about new business item number 1?
No.
No? Everybody good? Okay. Chuck, John?
I'm good.
Everybody good? Seems we're good. Seems like we're good.
Goodbye.
Okay, thank you. New business item number 2, Pepys one lot subdivision. Owner petitioner Richard and Karen Pepys, 9700 Genevieve Drive, St. John, vicinity 8029 Lakeshore Drive, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a final plat for a one lot subdivision. This was kind of a small item. Seemed like it was straightforward. Mr. Austin, everything good?
It is. I owe the description of the final plat, the access that actually talks about and by the town. I received a legal description.
Okay.
Can't hear him.
I haven't gotten anything new for this one.
I'll make sure tomorrow.
Okay.
That part of this area.
Okay. Is the petitioner here anywhere? No? Okay. Any questions from the Zoomers?
What did Dave say?
Dave said that he owes a legal description. Otherwise, everything is in order and it should be forthcoming.
All right.
I know that microphone's been challenging, Bob.
Yeah, I know. And the same way at the town council meeting, I told them they need to do something with his mic. I can hear everybody else except him.
I concur. I concur.
You're lucky.
All right. Well, I guess, Don, you have anything on this?
No, we were just waiting for the easement to record it so we can get the document number and everything on the final plat. So that's in order. I mentioned the final plat's pretty simple.
Okay. All right. Easy, easy stuff. Chuck, John, Mr.
Yeah,
Sharp,
good.
everybody good?
Yep.
Okay. Next item. Gone, preliminary plat, one lot subdivision. I hope I pronounced that right. Kurt Gahn, 14627 Morse Street, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Vicinity 14627 Morse Street, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting preliminary plat for a one lot subdivision. Is the petitioner here? Guess not.
This was a last minute. I just got it on Monday end of business, so we haven't even touched it yet.
Oh, okay.
I honestly don't even know much about it.
All right. Is there, again, there's no petitioner for this? Kurt? Nobody's here. All right. Any of the Zoomers have any comments on this? Anybody know anything about it?
Nope, sure don't.
Okay.
I do.
Michelle.
This gentleman would like to add a 2,520 square foot garage. He is currently on the BZA for August 13th, and he's going for a preliminary plat to obviously make a one lot subdivision.
Okay. And as far as you know, everything's in order?
Yes, sir. We haven't had Don's final review, but
Okay,
it has been submitted.
all right.
What's the zoning?
Michelle, what's the zoning on this piece of property?
I believe it's R2, residential single family.
And so he just wants to put a barn up with no other structure?
Was this a,
Correct. And
is this an accessory structure with primary residence?
yes, there's already a home on the lot, but it is just a meets and bounds lot, so he's going for a one lot subdivision.
Okay, all right. Chuck? Anything? Good, Don?
We'll look
Okay.
at it in the meantime, next 2 weeks.
All right. When you look at it, a report sooner than later would be good.
Yeah, I mean, it's forwarded on to our surveyor for his review, and I'll get to it pretty quick.
Okay.
Pretty small.
All right. Yes, sir.
This item is BZA, Michelle, or whatever report you can get at BZA level, Don, on that staff on review, maybe help back that evening.
Absolutely. All right. Anybody have any other questions? No. All right. Item number 4, Cedar Lake 132nd and Morris LLC site plan. Cedar Lake 132nd and Morris LLC, 16200 Clinton Street, Harvey, Illinois, 60426. Vicinity is 13205 Moore Street, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. Legal description is Shades Addition, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a site plan. There is a petitioner here to speak on this matter, and he did make mention to me that his documents are in a crashed car. So we'll try to get through this the best we can right now. Does anyone, Don, you have that property pulled up on the GIS?
I do.
Okay. All right. That'll help everybody a little bit.
It's several different parcels, so only one's highlighted.
All right. Okay, we have a petitioner. Could you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Jimmy Gerzik. My address is 253 Wildwood in Lakedale.
Okay.
And I don't believe that's my site plan.
No, it's not your site plan.
No.
It's
I think-
just your
I think it's
property.
the property site on the GIS.
Okay.
I think is what he had. Can you blow it up any more than that, Don?
Well, I did submit site plans
Yeah,
with the
that's
required work,
on our iPads.
with the requested work.
Or hard copy.
Huh?
Or hard copy.
Yeah.
So there should be a plan. that-
We have it in front of these guys. We can't put it up there though.
Oh, you can't.
I don't think we have that, do we? No, we don't have it digitally.
Hang in there a minute.
No worries.
Page, I don't know.
On page 15.
1-5. All right, now we're getting close. Okay, I have it here.
It's got it better when you go. It's got it better.
Okay, Mr. Gerzik, you're requesting a site plan. Correct?
Well, they requested me to submit my site plan that actually shows the request to put my son's food truck on there.
Okay. Can you give us a little background on this food truck? I know that has a little history in town presently.
Well, yes, the reason I bought the property in the first place, I think I've had it for a few years now, was to initially put a retail center on there, a small little strip center. And subsequently, my son, who worked at a restaurant downtown, Schwa, he's a chef, and he decided that he was going to put together a concept that had fresh food every day, and a different menu every day. And he's done a great job putting it together. He's worked on it quite a while now. And our possible trucks on there. Concern is him, and for him to go on the site. And so we wanted to accomplish that goal as soon as possible.
All right. Not having some hard copies makes this difficult.
Here, you want? I had one printed because
Okay. Any Zoomers have any questions at this time?
Nope.
Not yet, no.
Okay. All right. I guess, Don, do you have any questions right now?
Will this
Thoughts?
require a use variance of some? How do
No,
you-
the way that it's designed on the site plan is we actually own the 2 lots next to the electric power station.
Okay.
Then you have 132nd Street.
Mhm.
Then we own another additional, I believe, 8 lots right there, all the way up to the,
The lift station.
right. Now,
Yep.
there's, years ago, adjacent to the hardware store, there was an easement there's a roadway that was dedicated there, but I don't think it's used because there's a ditch there.
Mhm.
And there's a swale and a ditch.
Yep.
So our goal was there'll be no U-turning. The people would pull in. My goal is to put grindings in all the way across the front, so that we don't have the dust from the parking lot, because you won't have dust if we don't put gravel.
Mhm.
And be able to park there and then set him back to the center of the property. And I actually sent a little a plan as well that was attached that would show the seating in the walkway. We should be able to fit about 30 cars there.
Okay.
Between all the lots. We also have the additional property there that could be overflow parking, but based on what we've learned, he's been in town now on one of the lots that I believe Cedar Lake
Presently owns?
presently owned. I think
Yes,
that's
sir.
being conveyed right now, so the people are going, the ownership there is going to, I think, close on that property.
I understand it's sooner than later.
I heard it's like real soon.
So, I mean, Michelle, what is this zone?
I believe that it's currently zone B2.
Is there anything in B2 zoning like for uses that this would, or is this just totally outside of the box? It's not even in the zoning ordinance.
Correct. It's not listed, no.
Does that mean it needs a use variance or to clarify the parcel or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be good.
From an engineering parcel, I guess, point of view, I would be concerned about lighting of the site. We typically don't allow gravel parking lots. We only allow asphalt and concrete for new. And then screening to the residential neighbors to the east would be my, this is the first time I'm seeing it. I know your son came here a couple months ago, but this is the first site plan that we've seen. Those would be my initial concerns with it. Does he know operating hours or?
His operating hours would be probably up until, I'm going to guess, somewhere around 9, 10 o'clock in the evening. That's
Okay.
typical starting from lunch.
Okay. Does he know how he would potentially light the site? Will he have lighting on the
What
truck?
we
or-
intended on doing is we were going to light the way that we were going to light the site is there's switchgear that's over there. And what we intended on doing is to have a seating area, and that would all be hung with with bulbs and aesthetically with the tables and tables, chairs, and awnings.
Okay.
And as far as the stone parking lot, the reason we were pushing more for grindings, I'm a developer, I'm a designer. I've been developing for a few years now, and I have found that the dust is down when you use the asphalt grindings, and I roll and I compact those.
Yeah, they're certainly better than gravel.
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
much
and
better.
this plan commission has waived that requirement in the past, so it's really just a policy decision at that point. I'm just kind of throwing it out there.
I think, just shooting from the hip here, my opinion, I think that a drop dead time for the correct improvements to a B2 property would probably may be required.
What's that? What do you
That
mean?
means, this gravel lot may be temporary for a year, that kind of thing, but improving, I mean, some site improvements, I think may be required other than grindings.
Well, I've been
Uh,
asking about those for months now, of what was required, and they said that I had to go through this process.
Yeah.
Which I understand. But I'm not building a structure at this time. I'm not building a facility on there.
Right.
This is so I think a year would be great for us to see how things would go. Our intention was to hopefully come here in spring, actually. As far as improvements go, I don't think we've always designed and built, and made sure that aesthetically it always looks pleasing. But if it gets to a point where it's successful, I think everybody's kind of in limbo as it relates to COVID right now. Nobody really knows where it's going with restaurants on any of the centers or any of the properties.
A restaurant on wheels
Well, a restaurant on
couldn't be more genius during COVID.
Well, we
So-
believe that that's an option, but a restaurant on wheels that got fresh food with an excellent chef is also
Yeah.
a plus.
Well, I've heard nothing negative about time spent already. But I do know that we've made some decisions, made some approvals in the past with the word temporary. And temporary has lasted 4 years.
No, I can
That's
appreciate. I
why
can
I'm
understand.
bringing this up.
I can understand that. One of the things that we look at on any site that we develop is how can we make it the highest and best use? And it's not all about us. It's all about the community as well.
Yeah.
Because what's receptive and what's acceptable. Until we actually try this and actually test it out, you don't know if it's a success or not. And if it's not, then maybe we go to a smaller strip or a smaller facility on there, and then we come in with our plans, our specs, our renderings, et cetera.
So this, the grindings are in black, the trailer's in white.
No,
and-
trailer's black. No, it's not a trailer. It's a.
I'm
food
sorry, the truck. The truck.
And that's black as well.
So that's over in the corner.
It'd be done in black and red and lit up, and I would trim it all out with timbers. That's what my intention was. At least that's what our intention was in spring. I don't know if we'll have the time now because I don't know if the contractors are even available now.
Okay. All right. Chuck, do you have any thoughts on this right now? No? John?
This food truck leave every night?
The food truck leaves every day. And the reason the food truck leaves every day is because he has invested a lot of money in all his kitchen equipment and all the things. It's like state of the art in there, and it would leave for a number of different reasons. But the facility and the improvements that we would do, of course, would be set up so that it's self-supportive. So at the end of the day, the furniture would have to be worked out because that would be very tedious to try to move everything every day with that. So we have to figure all that out. I think it's
Well, my fear is that the truck sits there overnight, and the next thing I know, it's on cinder blocks and no tires, and there's a ramp and back and a patio and what have you. See, so I don't want that to happen, number one. Number two is, you said in the future, possibly more food trucks there.
We bought enough property there that my intention originally was I met with Mr. Niemeyer, and he was going through a process where you guys were looking at improving the downtown area. And so it initially started to where we were going to come up with a design on our property for a small strip. And as that went in a different direction with the town, I look at the property as trying this out and creating, at least investing those dollars to do whatever improvements are for a food truck. But if it's successful, of course, we're going to want to figure something out to where we might want to propose a food court. There's other
A food court of trucks.
a food court of trucks. That was our intent originally, to have a nice food court that had a combination of great food. This isn't the type of food truck that you would typically frequent at a carnival.
Well, to me, it's an unusual request for it's a business that's a day-to-day business, 365 days a year, but it's on wheels and it leaves every night. And my knowledge of food trucks, which is limited, of course, but they leave every night, but they pull up along the curb someplace and set up, and they pay a permit fee for use of that. I think that's what he was paying over at the other lot, right?
That's right.
You know,
But your typical food truck is a different type of food. It's not the type of food where they're going at 5 o'clock in the morning pulling.
connotation is food truck.
Pardon me?
Connotation is food truck.
Connotation is
Okay,
food truck.
food truck.
Right.
I don't care what they're selling shrimp, or if they're selling lobster, or if they're selling White Castle. It's food truck. Okay, and God bless your son, and hope he's as great a chef as you say he is, and I hope it's successful. I'm just trying to see that we don't bring something into this town that eventually becomes a problem for us. That's all I'm looking at.
That's not our intention.
And that's,
I'm working with chefs. I'm not working.
That's gonna be, that's gonna be more vetted through
You know,
the
this
use
is-
variance, I think.
yeah, we probably have to do that more through the
More
use
BZA.
variance, some of those details that you're talking about. I don't disagree with anything you're saying.
Okay.
This is unusual. It's, I think it's a good idea, but there's a lot of details to be worked out, ample parking,
Yes.
tables for
Absolutely.
parking spaces, those kinds of things, and having a term on this, a certain period of time.
What do we do from here then? What would you like us to do from here?
Well, I'm going to ask a few questions here of our Zoomers and people up here, and then probably have you have a seat, and we'll take some questions from the audience.
Okay, great.
So hang tight here. Chuck, you have any questions?
Lighting. Would you have to have some lighting?
Well,
Yeah.
that's what Don was talking about.
Like I'm just seeing this the first time now, so we'll conduct a cursory site plan review of it with some big ticket items. And that's going to be backed up by, I think, BZA's request and requirement for a use that is kind of not defined right now.
Yeah, I think I'm clear on the business because I've seen it at the other property. But I don't know how many other people have an opinion about it or what their thoughts were. John, Heather, Bob, Mr. Wilk.
Last night at the town council meeting, it was voted 4-3 to let them continue over there, which John Foreman, Ralph Miller, and I voted against it.
Okay,
Continue over where? The other
to
lot?
continue on this project.
Oh.
To move forward.
At the other lot.
Okay. Oh, at the other lot.
At the other
All
lot.
right. Okay. Mr. Foreman, any thoughts? Guess not. Heather, any thoughts?
My only question is a bathroom facility.
Oh, well, first of all, our goal was to, no different than, I was in the amphitheater music business before as well. And we have, it's not just your typical, it's like your typical porta potty, but it's a little bit upper scale. And that was our intention, to have those out there.
Like a multiple bathroom trailer?
It's kind of like a trailer. It's a little bit bigger than your typical satellite, but it's clean.
Okay.
And it's maintained all the time.
Yeah, I think somehow the aesthetics of that probably should be shown somehow.
Okay.
Just thinking out loud. Mr. Wilkening, any thoughts?
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing about the bathrooms, but also fixed seating becomes a fire code. How many can be seated? So work that out as well. Even though it's outside, it still has to be figured.
I didn't pick up on some of what you said. You said the outdoor seating has to be what?
It's fixed. It's a fire hazard.
Yeah, if it's fixed seating, which means tables and chairs, picnic tables, it has to be figured on occupancy for that lot size and that business. But it's kind of a different animal since it's a food truck. So we're gonna have to look into some fire code issues with that.
Well, any information you can pass along would be helpful.
We'll do some research. We'll do some research on it and send out an email to the Plan Commission.
Okay, Mr. Foreman.
Yeah, hey Jerry. I had it on mute a second ago. So a couple things. One, the property where he's presently at, we're in the process of selling, and it's going to be switching hands. And to have two businesses on one property without the proper zoning could become an issue. Number one. Number two, a few years back, Frank's Barbecue wanted to do essentially the same thing with two businesses on one property, and he got shot down. So that was kind of some of the mindset from my perspective last night. But as we progressed and Frank's Barbecue moved up to 41, he had to provide the site plan, as you mentioned. Also, there needed to be asphalt, some drainage fixing, etc. So that would be my opinion. I am a fan of food trucks. I think that there's a place for them in a lot of communities. They're kind of hip. A lot of the young millennials like them. They do bring a taste of unusual tastes to communities that add value. So I'm a proponent of it. I think, though, that the testing the waters with asphalt and this, that, and another could send the wrong message to some of the businesses that we've enforced various rules in the past year or two or three. So I think that since they own the property, I think some seating, some bathrooms, needs to be addressed one way or the other, and those sorts of things with asphalt as well.
Okay. I know that we had, I mentioned it earlier, these temporary non-compliant parking lots certainly would have a date that the use would be void. So we probably have to work through that also. Heather, any thoughts?
Not right now, no.
Chuck, John?
When it comes back,
Okay.
Was it going to be 7 days? You're going to be open 7 days a week, or do you know?
It's the process that my son goes through. He literally goes to actual farmers for all his meat. He actually goes in the morning to get all his fresh bread. He goes and gets all his vegetables, radicchio, everything fresh. So by the time he's got all that and puts everything prepared for the day, I can pretty much guarantee that he's exhausted by the time.
1 day's a lot.
So I'm not so sure he'd want to go 7 days.
I understand.
But I could see him doing 5 days to 6 days. But I can't speak for him. I don't really know what his timetable is. But I do know that when you were talking about the seating, what I have found in the past, even in the city of Chicago, the people don't really hang around in the seating, even though we provide enough seating and tables and chairs and the umbrellas, etc. But we have found that most people get their food, either order it, believe it or not, or stop and say, I want to pick it, come back and get it. But most of it to go. There's very minimal seating area. They're not hanging around. There's no liquor license. There's no beer. There's no,
Yeah,
it's not like they're playing bags or anything.
I think well,
But they are over at the one place.
maybe.
Yeah.
But they have a liquor license.
I think the point is that if you have some seating, we're going to have to
We
kind of
wanna make
vet
sure
kind of
we have
vet kind of
seating to
vet that
accommodate
a little
whatever is
bit.
required.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
No
All right.
worries.
Why don't you have a seat real quick, Mr. Gerzik? Is there anybody in the audience who has any thoughts or comments about this item? Anyone? Okay. All right, you can come back up. I'll ask the Zoomers again. Does anybody have any other thoughts or comments?
No.
No, I mentioned my 2 cents.
Okay, thanks, John.
The employees.
He has up to 2 or 3 people that do prep and work with him pretty much consistently in a food truck operation. And because of his specific menu and because it does change every day, my son more or less works outside the truck to, especially today with the baths and everything else. A lot of people, inquisitive on, what each item is, what comes with it, and he takes the time to walk through that. But in today's world, it's a little bit, hopefully that'll all change for all of us
He
someday.
was at the farmer's market last week, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, and that was him out front hawking the stuff?
Pardon me?
He's the big guy that was out front hawking everything?
Selling. That's the guy right there.
Oh, there he is.
That's your son back there?
That's my son.
Okay.
And
That's my
he
oldest
was the
son.
guy that was standing outside there? I didn't hear that.
Him and 2 guys.
2 guys, yeah.
2 guys. So
Yeah, I brought a couple brought off you out there.
I guess what we need.
The bun was terrible, yeah. Yeah, exactly. You come over and ask me what I thought, and I told you. Yeah.
Okay.
I knew you would.
I guess what we need to send you away with are some questions.
Sure.
I think we need to know a little more about the lighting. We're gonna have to get the seating thing figured out. John's gonna look over what's been presented here, probably based on what he has on satellite. Also, hours of operation, those kinds of things.
Bathrooms.
Bathrooms, yes, other bathrooms, and so we can keep plugging through this.
I will. I had a rendering all prepared, and a picture tells 1,000 words, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
Somebody hit me this morning.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're standing here.
I am. I'm so glad too. Very thankful.
I guess anybody have anything else want to
I'd
mention?
just like to see what he comes back with this.
Okay. All right. Hang on. Come on up here. Because we're on YouTube, so we need to make sure everybody can hear as much as we can provide.
So just for the record, the truck is equipped with LED lighting all around. Not only is the menu illuminated, but the rim of the truck on top, and it's pretty bright. So,
I think because it's a B2 lot, there's property lighting requirements.
okay.
So we're going to have to figure out how that's going to work or not work.
I think it's more than, I think it's adjacent to residential.
Yeah, well, that's going to be that'll be the other piece of the puzzle. You have houses right behind you, so we have to take that in
We
consideration.
did take that into consideration, and
Okay.
we tried to do everything we could to, and I think we have accomplished that with the location of the truck and the location of the lighting where we were putting it was pretty much in front of the truck, which is closer to the parking, which is closer to the street. And the bulb scenario that we put together, I think you'll find is more than adequate for the lighting that we intended on doing,
Well-
for the seating and for the people coming from the parking lot.
And I also definitely don't want to encroach on anybody's, view or whatnot, like what they've been accustomed to. So like offsetting the truck like towards the gravel, so it's got good visibility from both directions, but still isn't like, an eyesore or in the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of details we have to work through, but I would encourage you when you do get your documents,
Yes.
get them over here so we can have a chance to look them over. And
Do I drop those off? Do I submit those?
you could drop them off. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. Michelle, I forgot you were on here. Any thoughts?
No, sir. I think that you guys pretty much summed it all up.
Okay, thank you. All right. Nobody has any other questions?
Thank you for your consideration. We
wait,
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll be looking forward to the chapter 2.
Give a hand up.
That'll all have to be dealt with. Yeah, we're gonna get through that. I would encourage you to be in 2 weeks, be at that meeting, because we should have some super detailed information and figure out how we're gonna go with this. Yeah, I'm thinking if there's some high-end bathrooms there, the trash shouldn't be a problem. But
And I currently have.
We have a small dumpster, a closed thing.
okay,
Thank
all
you.
right. Have a good night.
Everybody.
Thank you. Item number 5, Cedar Lake Early Learning Academy Concept Plan. Owner Richard Yancey, 11622 Burr Street, Crown Point, Indiana. Petitioner Cedar Lake Early Learning Academy, 13115 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. The vicinity is 13410 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Legal description is Yancey Subdivision Lot 2. I'm assuming that this is the old Yancey's Carpet Building, or it's the building to the south of it?
Almost.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, we have a petitioner. Please state your name and address.
Clarissa Regula, my home address or business address?
Your home address.
540 Dakota Drive. Clarissa Regula, 540 Dakota Drive, Lowell, Indiana, 46356.
Okay, petitioner is requesting a concept plan. I'm assuming that you want to turn the old meat market into a early learning
Yes.
center? Okay. All right, I guess you could tell us about it.
Okay. So we've been where we are now over at the Great Oaks Plaza for almost 4 years, and we have been at max capacity almost since the first 6 months that we were open. So I've been here before looking at other properties to try to purchase or lease so that we could expand, because there's such a need for childcare in Cedar Lake. And we originally were going to lease or purchase Hen's building that he is doing the remodel on right by Strax, but that building already would have been too small for us. So we've just kind of been looking, and when this building became available, it seems like it'd be a good fit. It'll allow us to double the number of kids that we're currently serving. We do have a signed purchase agreement contingent on town approval. So we're just here to start that process.
I know you've been here before, and we've gone through a few things, but I wanted to just hit on that most important safety thing. The parents get out of the car and bring the children into the building? Okay, all right. Okay, Mr. Oshin, any immediate thoughts? Okay, all right, Don.
Not at this time. We
Not
got
this
this
time?
today, I think. We'll look at parking, existing site lighting. It's a pre-platted subdivision, so not too worried about it. There are some things they need to follow. So
Okay, all right. Heather, any thoughts?
Not yet, no.
Okay. Mr. Foreman?
No, first time seeing it. I think it seems like it might be in the right place, so I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. Mr. Becker? At this time, Mr. Kapoor?
They got an early lead in the second game of their doubleheader with the Orioles, 2-0.
no.
This is so much fun.
Was that Mr. Kapoor?
That was the Orioles.
1 ball, 1 strike.
One more time. One more time, John. Any thoughts right now?
So the cars aren't, when they park, bring the kids, they don't sit there.
And I can tell you right now, with the COVID process that's happening right now, parents are just literally bringing their children to the door, signing them in. They're not even allowed in the building for licensing regulations right now. So it's less than a minute. And because we're a childcare facility, it's very much different than an elementary school or a middle school or high school where cars line up and drop off. We're open 12 hours a day and parents can pick up and drop off anytime. So parking lot congestion is never really, even where we are now, has never been an issue.
We had the same discussion when you were going to move
Yes,
into
and that might have been an issue
Dr.
because
King's
the outside.
building, and I just trying to refresh my memory on it. I don't even know how many spots are over there, but I think it's probably adequate.
Yeah, I think we have it laid out where
Compared to
there's
the other place.
Yeah, I
10 in
think
the
so.
front, or 12 in the front and 10 in the back.
Well, yeah.
I do, let me get through the Zoomers. Bob, any thoughts?
My only concern is when they're trying to leave to go on 41, a right-hand turn would probably be okay, but making a left-hand turn, I know some people that have Brex going out of there.
Yeah, it could be a little challenging, Bob. I agree. I agree.
They're on US 41 now, Bob.
Yeah, I know, but this is another. I do know of a family that tried pulling out of that parking lot and got clobbered.
We
Again, got a traffic signal right north of it. I don't see that as being an issue. There's been businesses there forever.
There's always going to be accidents, Bob.
Yeah.
Since he
Want to bring it up?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Wilkening, are you still there? Any thoughts?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of work that has to be done before the facility could be utilized as a daycare facility. There's state approval and fire code. There's a lot of work that has to be done there.
Okay.
So we will be glad to sit down and work with them to make sure everything works out well, like we did with the last one. They understood and did a really good job working with us. So, but that building is not set up for a daycare center, so there'll have to be a lot of things done prior. So it shouldn't be a problem sitting down and working through it.
Okay. Since I've noticed Don has the picture up here. I know at the facility that you're at now, we had some Beirut blocks put there so cars can't accidentally or even worse, get into those areas. I'm assuming there's going to be a playground in the back.
Yep.
What is your means of security back there?
So it'll probably be very similar to what we have currently that will be moved over to the back block. So we have the big jersey blocks, is that what they're called? Blocking off, separating between the parking lot and the playground area.
Is it going to be a fenced in area?
Yes.
Is it going to be? Okay.
Oh, yeah, the state requires
Okay.
all that.
All right. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions here on the dais? No?
Sure.
Okay.
Right now.
That's- okay. Have a seat a minute and I'll ask if anybody else has any questions. Does anybody have any comments on this item, for or against? No? Okay. All right. Come back up, please. I think everybody's clear on what this is. I think they're clear on where it is, and I think you're clear on what needs to be done. So if there's no other comments, I think we're good. I think we're good.
Just so I know what to do next. I don't want to skip
I
any
think
steps.
I think the thing to do is keep marching through your legal requirements, state requirements and things like that, and
And then we come back on the 19th.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Do I need to bring anything particular for you guys on the 19th?
Whatever you have, that's, but I would encourage you to make sure you're real close to being done.
Jerry,
Yeah, sorry, Michelle. Yes.
this is only a concept plan, so she is not on there. If you would like for her to get site approval, then she can be on the September meetings for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have even more time to
Yeah.
get together and let Michelle know.
Okay.
She'll get you on the agenda.
Okay.
So I don't see any flags. Mr. Austin says we're good at this point. So.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Item number 6. Crossroads YMCA concept plan. Owner John Hayes, South Shore Country Club.
Country Club.
Yeah, 14400 Lakeshore Drive, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. The petitioner is Crossroads Young Men's Christian Association Incorporated, 100 West Burrell Drive, Crown Point, Indiana. The vicinity of this property is 14400 Lakeshore Drive, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. The petitioner is requesting a concept plan. I know we've seen a little something before, and I'm looking forward to some more information on this item. So if the petitioner would come up front, that'd be great.
Thank you. Good evening. Jay Buckner.
Good evening.
253 Fairfield Drive, Crown Point. CEO of the YMCA. So we came in June. We listened to and did our first blush at presenting this project. Took your comments, went back to our camp architects and our team, and in your packets you have a more detailed plan. We went from kind of bubble drawing and concept to very specific details on each area of the facility, and would like to just kind of work through that. I have Jeff Ban, who is our civil engineer. He's going to be on Zoom in just a second. He is traveling, and I have Jim Weiser, who has he will hopefully be on. He's our attorney, but through some medical and COVID things, he needed to be on Zoom. So we'll try to anticipate those questions as well. So what you want me to?
Yeah, I think everybody's clear on what this is and where it is. I'm assuming there's a bunch of people here to also discuss this.
I think so.
Just so everybody's clear, because it's been a while since you've been here and there's a lot of questions, a lot of comments, to me away from here. Just so everybody's clear on what's what, the golf course, you're going to turn into a YMCA camp.
Yes.
And I just want everybody on the same page about where we're at with some of this. So I'm going to ask that to catch us up with any conversations that have been had away from here with any town officials or anything like that, because I want to make sure everybody's
Not
clear on
since our
what's
last
what.
meeting.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I guess this iPad doesn't have a very good picture of anything.
And I do have some console in the back. We do have some pictures. They're not our renderings, but they do. There was a lot of confusion, I think, in our first piece that this was a campground, or there were going to be different pieces, and so.
And that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see things like this.
Yeah.
Exactly what these things are.
And in your detail, it drills it down a little bit more. And then at your request, I put in a 2-page summary of kind of what the day camp in your packet, what it is. And I'm not sure if it would be helpful to just hit some key points in that for the public on what.
Yeah, that would be fine. That would be fine. You want to go ahead.
Yeah. So just, summary wise, this is a day camp. Our first phase is a day camp. And so we're in the experiential learning business, right? We believe we serve 15,000 plus kids, and kids need a place to be able to learn, grow, and thrive. That's not in the classroom and outside of the classroom. And we believe through some of the pictures that Todd's going to show, there's that time where they have the opportunity to explore, to try new things, to gain self-confidence, to be around positive role models. And really, the outcome of that is just personal growth, right? These are, as they say, as cliche as it is, kind of our future. And so we want to give them the opportunities to be able to work as teams, to be able to problem solve and do those parts of those things. And so self-awareness and all those things we grew up with, is really a part of this camp. The camp business is not new to us. We run, even in COVID times, 500 to 600 kids a day in camp. It's very structured. It's very experiential learning driven. It's voice and choice for kids, and so we understand the camp business. It's safe. It's not just they run around and we kind of staff lifeguarding it. It is a very organized experience, and so I think that's important. This day camp, we would have them come in. It would roughly start at 8 o'clock in the morning and go until 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what that phase looks like, and so that will be during the summer time.
And that will be the phase one
That'll be phase one.
And that's on the north side.
And the north side.
Of 145th.
Yep. And so that will entail, as we go through this, will entail renovation of the clubhouse. It will also, in this phase one, of course, we're going to want to use the beachfront to be able to teach kids how to be safer on water, to be able to experience the great things that and opportunities that Cedar Lake has to offer. And so that would be a piece, as well as what we call program villages. And so they're 2-car garages, if you will. And so there might be art in that one day. There might be music. There might be, any type of other facility or experiences that they would have. And probably, the last feature would be some sort of a low or high ropes course, rock climbing wall, again, being able to create that opportunity that they can overcome fears and build confidence and those types of things. So that's the day camp piece. Here are a couple of pictures. Can I step over there?
Sure. Go ahead.
Just to show, I'm not sure where the camera is or the feet, but we've got a beachfront area here. This is the clubhouse. So again, just renovating the clubhouse. Obviously, we need shelter during hot days and also inclement weather. This would be an airnasium, so it's really just a big open air area with the top to be able to protect from weather. We do intend that there's kind of these, I think the architectural is down slide or kind of a conditioned space on the 2 wings so that we'd be able to have some conditioned space on the sides. You'll see minimal parking. Most of this is going to be drop off and then pick up. So you'll see some minimal parking, some rock wall area. To get into a little bit more, we've got a family camp area here. So we also, during the summer, a lot of kids and families might not learn what camping is, and it's expensive to try. And so we have the ability that there could be an overnight where they sleep in a tent and they understand, again, that family time, they're around a campfire, those types of things. Again, totally staff driven as far as that. So that's, and then over here, just open sports field. We do plan kind of where that current house is. That's our office and infirmary, when we think of as our kid area. We've got the maintenance yard that we continue target sports over here. So again, teaching kids whether it's bow and arrow or slingshot or those types of things. And so you can kind of see how that works throughout there. So that is phase one.
Is this going to be phase two?
So some examples of phase one, when we look at just kind of a beachfront area, so some of that parking lot, and I know there's, we've got to work with IDEM, there's dock requirements and restrictions, but this is just a picture that we had gotten, when you talk about that access road in there, a couple more. When kids or campers come in, there's a pavilion. So again, when they come in the morning, you have a flag raising ceremony. And so kids get together, they sing songs. Again, that's an opportunity for team building, to be able to really, again, get in front of a group, to be able to, talk and perform and do those types of things. So that's an example overlooking the water. There would be a rock climbing wall. And so that one has 16 stations around it. You can actually go up inside of it. And then on the top, actually, there's tables and chairs that you can oversee, at least in this camp. The water, There are opportunities for high ropes, court or zip lines and things like that. This one in particular is fully accessible, so people in wheelchairs or that have any problem getting upstairs would be able to experience that. So we've talked with some of the adaptive groups in town to be able to give their kids and families those types of experiences. So those are just a couple of pictures to get that concept.
Just a couple of questions, right off the cuff. You mentioned the dock. You mentioned some boats. You have no intention of, well, do you? Are we talking about power boats? We talking about kayaks? We're talking about
little Hobie Cat.
so sailboats and kayaks and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I guess this is phase one.
That's phase one. So I didn't know if we want questions.
Yeah, I'm going to solicit some questions and we'll go from there.
Okay. Okay.
So, all right. If anyone has any questions or concerns at this time, please come to the podium and state your name and address.
Hi, Colleen Sheehan, 14625 Main Street, Town Council Member, Ward 6. This would be directly in my backyard behind my house, and that's fine. But in the past, we've asked, what were you going to do about the houses? There's 6 of them back there. So they said, well, we'll build a berm and put up a fence. Well, in the back of my property, there's a lake from the rainwater. We have drainage issues back there. And so 6 months out of the year, you can't walk back there. They rope it off. The golf carts can't go back there. Nothing can. You build a berm, I mean, you've got to handle the water issues. You'll back it all up right into our yards. So that's one main concern. My second main concern is, when do we ever put camps in between subdivisions? They're always out by themselves. I just think it's a horrible idea. I really do.
I don't disagree. Personally, I don't disagree, but there seems to be camp is like food truck. There is
To a degree.
I understand. And there's a lot of details that are going to have to be worked through
Right.
with this,
Now we
certainly,
have
and
phase
the
2.
impact and the overall impact on the area,
Right.
stormwater,
Oh,
roads,
all of it. And now
roads,
we're
all
going
that stuff.
not-for-profit, losing all those tax dollars.
Yep.
I'm
That was discussed.
completely opposed as the town, as my job for the town, to worry about the roads, cleaning the lake. I mean, you can't even get around that corner right now on a weekend with Tasty Top. They're backed up, out and down. Where are you going to put? They talked in the past about hundreds of families.
Yeah.
Hundreds? Where are we going to put them? We don't have the police staff. We don't have the fire staff. And we don't have the roads.
And I will tell you that everybody sitting here, and I think everybody Zooming understands that the decisions about this and the effects are going to last well into 100 years.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's not going to be taken lightly. And we have a great engineer to deal with some of those kinds of things. But
I understand Mr. Hayes has a right to sell his property, and I'm not opposed to that. I've known for years it would sell. But a non-for-profit, 158 gorgeous acres of land and all that lakefront, it could bring in huge money to this town. A non-for-profit is just a lose all the way around. So that's my opinion. There's other people here that would like to speak, so I'm going to take
all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen.
Somebody, we have a Zoomer out there.
This is Jim Weezer. Can you hear me?
Who's on?
Jim Weezer.
Hello, Jim Weezer.
Hi. If I could just make a couple of comments, if you don't mind, Mr. Wilkening. I apologize to you all. I was there earlier. Those of you that know my situation, my wife and I have very strict directives from her oncologist as to items I can personally participate in and meetings that I unfortunately can't participate in. And because of the number of people there, had I stayed, I would have been in direct contradiction to her doctor's orders, and I just couldn't do that. So I apologize to you for having to leave and then come here by Zoom. I just want to say, and I need to, and I know what I'm about to say is not going to be a very popular thing, but I believe it has to be said because of process. This was a study session tonight. There's been no public hearing scheduled nor a public hearing requested. I recognize and appreciate that the public is concerned about this and has questions about it and comments about it. I respect that. But what is happening is you are conducting a public hearing without a public hearing ever having been advertised under the law. It's inappropriate under the Indiana statutes, in my opinion. David may have a different opinion, but in my opinion, it's actually illegal to allow the public to comment on a project, one, that hasn't even been finalized yet. It's a concept plan. And two, before there's ever a notice of a public hearing. And we all know that under the Indiana open door law, the public is entitled to listen to comments, or listen to presentations, look at the information, and learn about it. But there is nothing under the Indiana open door law that allows them to speak. What allows them to speak is when it's an advertised public hearing and notices are sent both in the paper and to adjoining property owners. Then they are allowed to do that. To allow this and permit it prior to that ever taking place is just simply not appropriate and not legal. If you continue, I understand, I get it, but I just felt on behalf of my client, I needed to make that as part of the record. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do that.
Okay, Mr. Weiser, I'm going to allow Mr. Austin to respond to what you've just stated.
Well, I'm certain that Jim and his client do not like what they're hearing.
I'm sorry, I can't hear him.
You and Bob, can you hear me? Bob?
Barely.
I've got it right up to my lips, Bob.
Yeah, Mr. Weiser said he couldn't hear you either.
Yeah, I can't hear David.
Hey, Dave.
Oh, he's up.
For the record, Jim and I disagree. It's not illegal to conduct what you are doing here in the context of soliciting comments from your citizenry. It's a public meeting. It's duly noticed. It's duly advertised. It's been on the schedule since, well, December of last year. And your citizens have come and you've solicited comments. First time they've seen it, just like.
First time I've seen it.
Yeah.
And if they're interested enough to come and you think it's appropriate to hear comments from the citizens, this is legal. There's nothing illegal about it.
Well, Mr. Austin, my goal in doing this was because such time had lapsed between the first presentation of this concept plan and now that the rumors and discussions that I've been subject to away from here in the public regarding this have been all over the place. And I think the sooner the public can get this information and see it and think about it and discuss it and say what they have to say, the better. Because otherwise, as I gave Sarah, she made copies for a bunch of these people so they can see phase one because they haven't seen it, I don't think. None of them have seen it. So it creates a lot of anxiety when you're not looking at something and you're discussing it with your neighbors and every day and every day and every day. And I appreciate you all showing up here. I mean, I do, because this is where you're going to get the information that you're looking for.
Again, Jim and I disagree. This is a completely legal meeting, duly advertised notice in the public without being behind closed doors. And we can agree to disagree, I presume, but this is a legal meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Austin. Mr. Weiser, any thoughts right now at this time?
Well, I agree with Dave to disagree, and I perfectly understand that. If you proceed, that's certainly what you intend to do, and on David's advice. And David's an excellent lawyer, so I just happen to disagree with his opinion.
Okay. Since we've gotten past that for now. We have another petitioner at the podium. And again, I just want this to be fully transparent so everybody has the information that we have. And
Can I suggest that citizens public hearing comments Jim has indicated offered it by comment.
Can't hear them.
we're going to proceed with comments from the public. Go ahead, sir. State your name and address.
My name is Dave Abshire. I'm at 14605 Lane. I own 10 pieces of property adjacent to the golf course. And last Sunday, we had our lakefront committee, our subdivision, South Shore, had a meeting in which we got a unanimous, and you can see the support that we have here, a unanimous decree that we were going to come here and we are all opposed to this project. Now, having 15,000 kids with 600 per day sounds like a great project for 20 miles down the road on a big piece of farmland. Doesn't fit in here because, as Colleen just pointed out, we'd be losing so much potential tax revenue based on new housing or some other project that would generate money. And in addition to that, there's a large concern about the way that this thing would be generated. Now, these photos I think come from Kentucky or Tennessee somewhere.
Nashville.
Okay, so we haven't really seen anything at all related to our piece of property, but our consensus is, as a group and as a homeowner on that property, we have no reason to accept this proposal.
Okay, thank you. State your name and address, please.
Donna Corey, 14605 Bryan Street, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. I live in South Shore subdivision. However, I don't have elaborate pictures like that. I do want to present the 4 YMCA camps in Indiana. If you notice, every camp, and I can make copies for you guys, is on a lake that has non-residential area. If you really look online, I went on United States of America camps, the YMCA camps. Every single one of them looked just like that. They had that little jumping pad. They have all this. However, if you really look at what's surrounding those day camps, those overnight retreats, where my daughter went when I went as a Girl Scout or whatever, there's no residential area around it. The lakefront is like the whole half the side of a lake. There's the horseback riding, they do rack. Every picture like that I saw on the Facebook pages of these camps. So this is what I'm saying. I feel at Cedar Lake too. I agree with Colleen 500% about it. How is this camp going to even portray a camp that's offered in the other areas in Indiana? Blackman Lake, YMCA Camp Potawatomi. I went to Camp Tecumseh myself. We have Camp Carson, and we have right now, Camp Cross. So if you did any research to look at these camps that are mimicking that picture, I seen it on their Facebook page. They are not like any residential area by miles. There's not even if I zoomed even bigger, I realized that you would see this is all uninhabited area. Just take that in consideration, please.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. Zachary Myers at 6413 West 131st. It's Lemon Lake Estates, northeast side. As I do not live in their neighborhood, I am still concerned, and I sympathize with these people that have to deal with this on a daily basis if it does, and that really become a thing. But as I look here, I see lots of man-made structures. I see the breakwater that's going to be tore down in front of the clubhouse to make a beach. And with that said, I have environmental issues with this that I don't know has been addressed by either them, their lawyer, or their planners. We have migratory birds that come into the area, such as snow geese, Canadian geese, and mallards. And with all these man-made structures, this would be inhibited to them to come to the area. And knowing that it's a golf course, wide open, and knowing that they come there, I've been there and I've seen them. Also, I have issues with the lakefront itself. They're going to put I would assume, a stationary pier, which can also, I mean, the beach is going to inevitably erode, which will add more sediment and more to the lake, which is becoming an issue year after year with the lake becoming shallower and shallower. All these being said, like I said, I haven't seen anything from these gentlemen besides wooing pictures from their other parks that are in the middle of nowhere. And all I see is residential areas and homeowners that are having an issue with, he says, thousands of kids coming into our town with crippling infrastructure as it is, and nowhere to put them. There's no parking lots. I see 2 here, 3. I see massive issues with this that haven't been addressed, as well as the fact that it's a beautiful area that could be used for much other, and the town can use it, and the town can benefit from it compared to a non-for-profit. As being a member of the YMCA itself, I see a massive issue with this coming to our town.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Daniel Freeman. I live at 14702 Bryan Street here in Cedar Lake. I'm taking a look at everything, and they've all covered just about mostly everything. But my major concern really is, and straight out of his mouth, was 500 to 600 kids a day. That's 500 or 600 kids a day that's being traveled through, or they said they were going to bring them back around. It's a lot of traffic. 500 or 600 kids a day is a lot of traffic. You're talking about an entire school that you're going to place right there on Lakeshore. All right, this being, nonprofit, no tax, tax exempt, what's going to pay for the roads that we're having issues with, and the amount of traffic that we deal with now? I've also heard from a real estate agent about an issue that happened in Wisconsin Dells area after they put in the YMCA of crime. Crime rate increased after they brought in more people, obviously more people, more crime rate, right? My question is not really lean towards them, but more towards the board here is, what's your guys' plan to do about this if the crime rate increases? I mean, are the taxes going to pay for it? Are we going to get a tax increase because it's tax exempt, but we're bringing in more people? Where's the solution going to be to bring in more police to deal with this problem if it does occur?
I totally understand your questions. I do, and I wish I had a fast and quick answer for you, but I don't. There's a lot of details to this that are going to have to be worked through. The effects on everybody in the town, the infrastructure and everything still has to be dug through.
I completely agree. And will this be made public knowledge now that it's presented here to the whole town, people that aren't here today?
I think anybody who wants, can we put that on the website? Or would that be wrong, Dave? Okay. All right.
It's a public record now. So can we make sure that at least the people of the town that couldn't make it here today get to know about what's going on?
They can always come to town hall and ask for the record.
I understand.
Yeah. They want to come by and pick one up, that's fine.
The minutes will be posted too.
Okay.
So you can read through the minutes.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Your name and address for the record, please.
Bob Ben Ramshorst, 14507 Lakeshore Drive in beautiful Cedar Lake, Indiana. I live 2 doors away from what's going to be here on Lakeshore Drive right there. When you come around this blind corner, I try to pull out of my driveway every week. Something happens where somebody comes around that corner and I got my butt of my truck sitting out there. If we put 600 more, if we put 100 more cars on that a day, it's going to make what is hard for me impossible. Somebody's going to get killed on that corner. It's already bad. That's completely blind coming around there. There's no way for them to see that I'm there. There's no way for me to see them coming. Putting something like this in a residential area is just, it's wrong. It's not made for that. There's reasons you don't put businesses or something this large in a residential area. That's the reason you don't do it. You can't, the infrastructure doesn't hold it. It isn't made for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hayes, 7304 West 145th Avenue. If these people would like to pool their money together and buy the property, keep it as a golf course, pay the taxes, pay the insurance, pay the labor, so be it. I have not seen one accident with that Harley bar on the corner at Blaine and 145th. Not one. All the years. We've had outings there with well over 200 people in the past. Never had an accident.
Yeah, okay. I totally understand what you're saying, and everybody knows there's not hundreds of people looking this over. There's probably going to be thousands of people looking this over. So there's a lot of details, Mr. Hayes. A lot of details. Thank you. Anyone else like to ask any questions? Make any comments?
Hello, I'm
Hello.
Julie Stemper, 14629 Lee Street. I'm right there as well in the subdivision. Ditto to everything said. My point being also would be I see a 250 person seated amphitheater in our backyard. We have all worked very hard for our lakefront property with a new fence, a nice beach, park to make it beautiful, private, quiet. And now we're going to have 500 kids swimming next door. Like, I feel like our whole entire subdivision and what we've worked for is going to be gone. There's no privacy. There's no neighborhood anymore. It's like you're living in the middle of a camp. Like, I just don't think it's fair. I think it's a great idea, not location. That's
Okay.
all.
Thank you. Anyone else have any thoughts? Any comments?
I'm Teresa Brazil. I live at 14517 Lee Street. This is adjacent to my house, my property. What I would like to say is, I see a lot of people from our subdivision walking across the street to our park. How is that going to happen if there's hundreds of cars? There is a cause for concern for accidents happening. Maybe not so much now, but in the future, there are kids that are running across the street. There are golf carts that go across the street. And when you add that much traffic, where's the liability going to be? If a kid gets hurt on the lake, if a kid gets hurt on the property, is that going to affect Cedar Lake? Or are they going to take care of that? I mean, you're talking about kids like having archery. There's a lot of reasons that kids can get injured as well. I certainly don't want to see a child drown.
I will share with you that when they were here the last time, there was a brief discussion about where the golf carts now cross the road.
Mm-hmm.
So that has not been, that kind of thing has not been forgotten
Right.
on any road.
Right.
But
with there just being so much more traffic, that is it's only a 2-lane road. And if you're adding all these children, you know, all these cars coming and picking them up at all hours of the day, I mean, that's just that's gonna inhibit us from being able to use our park too.
I totally understand your comments. Thank you.
My name is Joyce Bluth. I live at 14527 Lee Street, probably just a few houses from Lakeshore Drive. And I would think that all of the children and everything that will just fill the lake up. And I think the traffic will be unbearable and the noise in our subdivision would just kind of ruin all the quiet and beautiful that we have now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Erin Bluth, 14530 Blaine Street. I also live in that subdivision. Let me take this. One of the things, I sit on my couch and I can see the stoplight at the Tasty Freeze. I can see it turn red. I see it turn green. Now you're going to put that between me and that stoplight? There's no way. That's not enough room for that to happen. There's I'm gonna sit in my living room and listen to Itsy Bitsy Spider by 500 kids. It ain't gonna happen. I'm not gonna let it happen. That area is just not big enough for that to happen. I mean, that is not wide enough or long enough for what those camps that Donna showed you in those pictures. I mean, how long is a zip line? That's from there to the stoplight. So that's my take on it. I don't think the area is appropriate for a camp. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments or questions? Going once, going twice? Okay. Anybody on Zoom have any thoughts or comments right now? Mr. Foreman? Nothing. John Foreman, are you out there?
Yeah, I am out here. Thank you.
All right. Any
Yeah,
other?
so, this is a work session where we are presented with the Crossroads YMCA. It says concept plan, but it's really a concept plan for a PUD. Is that correct, Michelle?
That's correct, John.
Yeah. So it was my understanding that this particular Crossroads YMCA concept plan for a PUD was to address us working with them for a somewhat of a flexible type of a layout, with the first phase happening on the holes 1 and 18 for easy explanation, and second phase 5 to 7 years out for the rest of the golf course, which is south. In a sense, it is somewhat like a golf course in that it is a seasonal type of a venue. It's not like you're going to be doing a lot in the winter, just like we can't, unfortunately, golf in the winter. Like the last work session, of course, me being a selfish guy, I think it would be greatest to keep it a golf course. Second to a golf course, I feel as though something like this with a professional organization that would build institutional buildings and work with the neighbors and work with the town and help possibly with the lake and help possibly with roads and traffic. They're talking about a very large investment. I think if done properly and worked in conjunction with the community, I think it could be an asset and some benefits. They clearly have recognized at the last work session, or maybe a few months ago, that lost revenue is absolute. They are not-for-profit, therefore all of the the revenue that would be lost, even what they sell in their clubhouses, would not go to the town. So I think in lieu of that, we could probably work something out. But, we're at an interesting time with us, with the lake and a lot of things that are happening in and around us. And I do realize that it is next door to all you fine folks in South Shore. And so I just think this is a work session. And when I go to the Crown Point YMCA and I see those institutional buildings and how professional it is, and the fact that they're busting it between, and it would be, pretty professionally done. So I think there's things that we still need to understand and learn and make judgments.
I agree, John, and the more details we can be given, the better. The information we received the second time is better than the first time. But as I said to everyone more than once, there's a lot of details that are going to have to be worked through, discussed, and a lot of those are going to take place with all the town officials. So, thanks, John. Any thoughts, Heather?
Not right now, no. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bob Carnahan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The Hayes family has the right to sell their property. And if we hinder them from selling their property, I'm quite sure we can get sued. Number two, that property, if it's not turned into this, it has the potential to have 300 plus homes that could be built on that property. It's 150 acres, and I'm quite sure they're not going to make 1 acre lots, probably half acre, or might even have more than that on it. So the traffic, if a subdivision is built in there, is going to be just as bad or maybe worse.
I understand, Bob. Thank you. Chuck, any thoughts?
Not right now.
All right now, Mr. Kapora, anything?
Oh, I got a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, the idea of a campground, I think, is misconstrued to the people out there, because they're going to have, and I'm not by no way defending what they want to do. I'm just stating what I know. All right, it's going to be 3 areas of 5 cabins, not tents, cabins. So they're not going to be pulling RVs in or camper trailers or stuff like that. The camping per se will be, my understanding, in these 15 cabins that they're going to build. Okay. Now, my questions run like, on this list they gave us, trying to put together their PUD, item 13 and item 14. Item 13 says horse riding and carriage trails. I personally would not like to see anything like that inside the town limits. The other 14 is petting zoo. Here again, I would not like to see that in the in town limits. Now, if you look on the concept drawing they gave us, there is no spot on there that shows a stable or a petting zoo. It shows a wildlife area. And to me, wildlife is the deer, the fox, the coyotes that run through there. I know because I used to cut grass there, and I'd see foxes out there all the time, and deer and coyotes and skunks and raccoons, you know. You're supposed to have fire pits. Fire pits, I'd like to know what the construction or how they're gonna be put together, because to me, it can only be a certain size. It has to be an approved container with an ember suppressing lid on it. I would insist upon that. They can only use clean, dry wood, no brush, leaves, trash, treated wood, stuff of that nature. It has to be good, same stuff you'd use in your fireplace. No flammable liquids to ignite the stuff. They must be at least 15 feet away from any combustible buildings or objects or stuff along those lines. The fire must be attended to at all times with someone at least 18 years of age. The fire must be completely extinguished after the use. Fire must be extinguished if there's any objections to the smoke or invades neighboring structures. If they receive complaints, the police and or fire department will show up if it's, and you could be charged for that. If they persist on doing this, then they could be fined. This is not cut in stone. This is what I would like to see with the fire pits. The other question I had, someone brought up, is what is the noise level going to be there with all these people? Now, I heard people say 500 kids a day. I don't believe that's correct. I believe at the last meeting, they told us they could have facilities for up to 180 children. I could be wrong on that, but that strikes a figure. So it's a little bit less than what you're thinking. But I'd like to know what the noise level would be. I would like to know the amount of water, if they're going to use the wells that are there, do they need to have a filtration plant of some sort to provide the potable water to the people that are going to be there, camping there or in the conference centers or dining halls or what have you. Somebody mentioned, I think Colleen mentioned a berm they're supposed to put in. I want to know what the buffer zone is going to be between the residential and the new project. Is it going to be a berm? Is it going to be a fence? Is it going to be some sort of like arborvitae's or some sort of vegetation, they would have to spell that out so I know what that is. The engineers involved, their engineers and our engineer would have to work out the water drainage. So if they're, whatever they put on that property is going to create problems for into the residents with drainage, they have to come to a solution with that. Either reverse the flow with a swale or something, dump it into the ponds that are there, do something with it. Street cross brought up. And parking, I don't know how many spots they have. They will indicate when they come in with a better plan of how many parking spots they're going to have. Now, they said on the first phase, that's just a drop-off area. They won't need a whole bunch. But we still need to know because it's based on the size of the building, based on people coming and going. They're going to have a dining hall over there too. Are those people driving cars to the dining hall? They're going to have the beach. Do people drive cars there to the beach, or do they drop them off and then the kids go to the beach? The dock, is the dock going to be just for the paddle boats and the kayaks and that, or can somebody from the lake come in with their power boat and pull up to the dock? I don't know if there's a reason for that to happen, but you know, we need to know that. And then entrance turn lanes. If you got a lot of traffic, do we need to put in some turn lanes, like, you know, right in, right out, or you know, a deceleration lane, or what have you? I don't foresee a line of traffic like you would see on the Dan Ryan. But there could be a lot of cars, and I don't think everybody's going to show up right at 8 o'clock in the morning. I could be wrong, you know, but.
Or over the streets from one part to the other.
But those are just some of the thoughts that I had after I got my packet emailed to me, and I went over this. And I'm sure they have answers for that. I'm sure none of this is not insurmountable of what I'm looking to hear. So we have to weigh what everybody out there says. We have to weigh what the YMCA says. And then we have to weigh what this board thinks, or this commission thinks. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And just to reiterate, this is 150 acres.
Yeah.
This is so the details are extremely important for us, for you guys, everybody else. So, all right, one more time, Heather, any thoughts?
Not now, no, thank you.
Okay, Bob Carnahan.
No more.
More. Okay, Mr. Foreman.
Nope, I'm just still learning and looking through this stuff. And
Thanks, John.
If you think I'm kidding, maybe.
Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson, are you out there? No. He's gone. Okay.
There, I just muted him.
Michelle.
I have lots of concerns and lots of questions, but this is obviously not the time for that. This is conceptual, and as this goes down the road, we'll be working closely with everybody.
Okay, thank you.
I have no questions at this time.
Thanks, Michelle. Mr. Oliphant, anything else?
Similar, if this gets past conceptual, we're going to have a lot of concerns that have been mentioned here regarding traffic screening, both noise, light, pedestrian traffic, volume, turning movements. And there's a lot of stuff that would go into it, public infrastructure improvements, both roadways, underground, a lot of stuff.
Okay. All right, Chuck.
Basically, just not a good spot for this. You know, like the concept, just not good.
Okay. Mr. Sharp, nothing right now? Last chance, John.
I've said enough.
Okay. All right. Well, I have nothing else really left on here. So, Mr. Austin, any final thoughts? Okay. Right. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, I think we can call this meeting adjourned.
No, we have
Get some quick update items.
You got update items?
Yeah.
Real quick.
some update items there.
They're just a bunch of letter credits that are coming up. Bottom three will be
Hold on a minute. Where are you at?
update items. Last page.
Here, here, here.
I don't know, I got such a problem with paper tonight. Okay, update items. Go ahead, Don.
Top two are Beacon Point. They don't expire until next year.
Hey, Don, hang on.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Okay, Don, back to Beacon Point Unit 3.
3 and 4, this is down here as a note, they expire in 21. Those aren't too obviously pressing. I know the developer is going to come with a reduction at some point in the next month or two, probably. And then 12, we have as-built for that one. That likely will be turned over into maintenance. Rose Garden, haven't really heard much from them. That likely will probably be reduced by October, but it'll stay in performance. And then offshore, I think Dave Carey just needs to be notified. He likely could get a waiver and do his final coat, because that would be the only thing outstanding in his letter of credit.
Okay.
We actually
Who notifies him?
Myself or Michelle will.
Okay.
I actually brought it up to him. We met with him about some MS4 issues on Friday of last week, and I let him know that if he wanted to pave the final coat, he would need to get a waiver. But if he did do that, we would still hold him until the 80% build out. He has one house built right now, there's 9 lots. So it would still stay in performance, so likely he's going to renew it.
Has the stormwater compromises over there been rectified?
Yeah, he's made a lot of improvements. We did an inspection about 2 weeks ago. Hit him pretty hard. We met him out there as a result last Friday just to go over with him and let him know what we're looking for, let him know what he can do to fix it a little bit better. And he actually made improvements before we actually met. So
okay,
he's doing as much as he can, I think. And he's doing a good job. He's just a little inexperienced in some of that stuff. So we're trying to help him along.
Well, I think it was the weekend before he had a landscaper out there.
Yeah.
Professional landscaper early on a weekend morning.
Yeah, I think
taking
Redfoot's
care of
doing his work.
Taking care of some things. Okay.
So we've made some recommendations and he's going to implement some of them. So hopefully it shouldn't
Okay.
be an issue from now on.
All right, Don, thanks for the update.
Mm-hmm.
Any parting thoughts from any of the Zoomers?
Yes, just announce the next meeting that's on the bottom of the page here.
August 19th.
Is our next meeting. And then our next work session is September 2nd.
Yes.
President.
Thanks, Bob.
You're
Heather?
welcome.
Heather, anything?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Mr. Foreman, Mr. Wilkening?
Nope, we're good.
Okay, thank you.
All good.
All right. Anybody on the dais? Any other parting words? Okay,
No more hands up. So
no more hands up.
we're good.
Yeah,
Thanks, Don.
I don't like food trucks on lots.
Mr. Austin?
President, and in response, Bob, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Very good.
Good deal. I'm standing at the podium now. So
Well, that's why.
I think location in the room means everything. Bob, you know this, and this is in response to your comment during the public comments portion of the evening. Anybody can sue for anything.
Absolutely.
And if you follow the law, you use your police power that has been granted and validated and documented in all the books and in all the cases, you will not lose if you are sued. So the town taking the proper actions by the planning steps, the referral to the town council, ultimately, Bob, by the way, this will get to town council for consideration of approval of the PUD ordinance, which will have accompanying it the 1-lot subdivision or 2 lots, depending upon how they break it out, and any other PUD agreements that are made consistent with the PUD portion of your ordinance. So those are followed. You could be sued. You will not lose. Want to make sure that we're clear about that, because it kind of sounded, and at the time it came up, as though we should be thinking that's a proper factor for making decisions, and it isn't.
Well, I thought the purpose of this meeting, the work session, was to let the petitioners know what they have to do to comply with what we want for future meetings. And that's the reason I read or said what I said.
Oh, your list is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
on all
You
your
know.
lists, I just want to make sure.
But I'm referring to the people that have commented too, because they
This-
gotta hear with them so they can adjust to that.
Mr. Hayes has the full right to sell his property to whoever he wants.
He
But
does.
through this commission and your town council and the request that they're making as part of a PUD, you do have a right to comment on it and require certain things from it.
It's a very significant piece of land, and it has a lot of interest, and it's going to have a lot of impact on the community when future development occurs. But we have to keep going forward. We have the rules in place. Let's just follow them.
Thank you, Mr. Austin.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I guess if
No public
there are no more public comment, nobody's hands up on the computer, I guess I will again adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, sir. That's all this stuff. off now?
Not yet.
Okay, now.
It's still recording.
Still recording.
I need somebody to download this.
Make the comment.
Don, did you stop it?
I need to get the whole thing back up. But you leave, I'm guessing.
Hit end in the corner.
Sharon, that's why.